the two things you never want to tell your black parents is that if you're a girl, that you are a stripper, or if you're like a guy, you're a rapper. Like, that's just like, you don't do, like, my parents are so traditional and Southern, like they have failed as parents. Like, me telling my mom, I was like, you know, Mom, like, I think I want to rap. And she's like, who baby want to rap? I was comfortable being myself, right? I didn't want to be anybody else, right? So I think that's the hardest thing people do in music, is that they make music for what people want to hear, where I like just try to just rap whatever I want, and then we try to make it digestible as possible. I feel like finding yourself is almost like a religious experience, right? It's like the fear of unknown versus the fear of what you actually already can go back home to, right? Most people stay in toxic relationships or relationships that don't suit them because, like, they'd rather know the devil they know than trying to figure out if you're a devil or an angel. That's where I fell in love with it again, and I was just trying to rap, you know what I mean? I think it kind of like saved my mental health during COVID, because I think, like, I always wanted to be that person, and I'm just happy I got the opportunity to do that, you know what I mean? Like, I just finally kind of circled it and was like, all right, like, I had trouble being honest with myself, or finding the balance between trying to be what everybody else wanted me to be, and then kind of like what I wanted to be and what was going to make me happy. And the cypher kind of put me in a place where I was like, oh shit, I really love this. You know what I mean? Like, I really, really, really love this rap stuff.
Sliding in the studio, my album coming soon. Until we get this rap money, trap gon' have to boom. These bricks and these keys and these zips is what we'll do. If you need some fire, I can see you off the Jones.
Mr. Check Check, Mr. 6 Feet When We Meet, aka Mr. Young Catfish, aka where Jadakiss gets his bars from, aka Check Check. Peace and blessings.
Check.
Hey!
We in there, man. Thanks for coming through. Thanks for listening, y'all. We got King Tetrus in the building. Another day, another pod, and he is probably with your mom. No,
Facts.
Okay, facts. Hey, what you
Facts.
said. Yo, thanks for coming through, Tetrus. Here on the Heir Cast, we start with the important questions because the people, the fans, the Air Force, the streets, the industry.
Ooh, the Air Force. I love that. That's a bar.
Yeah, it used to be the Air Support, but then I think Air Force is it kind of just.
I love that.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Corporate America. Everybody wants to know, what's your highest score ever on Tetris?
So the original Tetris, the one that dropped like in 89, I did pretty well at. I think the one that dropped on Nintendo, like the original, you know, blow the cartridge on Nintendo, I beat that one and a couple of arcade ones, but I don't remember the exact score though, for sure.
That's the earliest system you had, the blowing the card. That's a Super 64.
Super
right?
Nintendo.
Yeah, Super Nintendo joint. Yeah.
There was only, because if you remember, damn, people might not remember this, like, but the people who really know, like, will remember this. Super Nintendo used to come with one game that had like Super Mario, Tetris, duck hunting.
It was like a multi-game
joint, right?
Yeah,
like
awesome.
one of those.
Super dope.
And that back when you had to like unplug the cable for like your actual cable box, put it in there, all that. You know what I mean? Like,
before my
oh
time.
god. Hey, lower your voice. No judgment there,
My
bud.
bad. No,
all right?
it's cool.
Hey.
We need the OGs.
So yeah, no, I've done pretty well at Tetris. It's all about the bars. But yeah.
That's crazy.
But you know, that's not how I got the name. Like, me beating Tetris was like not how I got the name.
Okay, let's do that story because I want to ask you about Check. So we're gonna do back-to-back stories.
All right,
Shout out
cool.
Drake.
So I got the name Tetris. I can give you the like what I tell people, and then like how I really got it. So I'll tell you what I tell people. Like, the game of Tetris, no matter how you stack it up, no matter how you fit it in, it's always about bars, right? Just like the rap game is always about bars, right? So they're like King Tetrus, right? That kind of worked out. How I got the name Tetris was because I played Tetris in middle school. And if anybody from Miami knows, all these kids from New York or New Jersey come down to Miami for like summer camp
Snowbirds
and
type shit.
snowbirds, you know, all that, right? So the kids just never learned my name, and they just kept calling me Tetris. So like when it came time to play basketball or anything, they'd be like, "Oh, what's up, Tetris?" And I was like, "I'm Greg, but no worries." You know what I mean? Like,
so where does Tetris come in from if your name's Greg?
Because they would see me play Tetris. And then they would just call me Little Tetris.
So they just, yeah, that's crazy.
Right? So then when I started to rap, I was like, I'm coming up with all these like cool ass names and shit in my head. popping up to the cipher, and they're like, "Nah, bro, you're Tetris, bro."
That's
Like you're
hilarious.
little Tets, bro.
That's hilarious. That's
so
crazy.
I was like, "Fuck these people from New York, bro." Like, hey, Tetris, hey.
You said from DR
No, from New York.
or from New York?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
The black people, Dominican people, who were the people that were doing that?
Bro,
were
it was
associating the
like-
name? Was it,
It was-
everybody?
Nah, it was mostly like
Who started it? Do you remember?
most of the people I hung out with in high school were either, at this time frame, was like either Colombian, Cuban, or Dominican.
That's crazy because I was relating that to Cuban culture. I'm Cuban on both sides. They do that all the time. They'll take your biggest insecurity. Like if you have a big head, they'll be like, "Hey, cabeza," which is big head, and that'll be your nickname. You have big teeth, they'll be like, "Hey, diente, this is teeth right here." This is like, it's just crazy how they just, you have to embrace it because if not, they're gonna call you out on it. Like I used to be called Donkey all the time because of my 2 buck teeth, and like I used to hate it all the time. But I love Shrek, and now looking back on it, it's one of the best characters all the time. And he bags a dragon, so whatever. I'm Donkey and I got bars.
I love how you internalized that, bud. I love that for you. You
Yeah,
were like the donkey, Shrek. I love that. Good for
I used
you.
to hate it. I used to, bro. My friends used to say it in front of girls. I'd be, trying to mac and do my thing, trying to bag, and like they'd be like, "Yo, donkey," and I'd be like, "Bro, nobody calls me that but them."
I mean, that's kind of the same way. I'll never forget this. I started rapping because of a girl. I saw her like in homeroom, and she would always go hang out with like the MCs and breakers and sneakerheads, right? So I was like, damn, I gotta like figure out how I'm gonna talk to her. So I went home one day and I went to go write raps. And like when it was my turn in the cipher, I went to go, you know what I mean? And then in my head, that's what it was like. It was like, right? And then next thing you know, like
One of the best feelings.
one of my boys was like, "Oh, little Tets," right? And I was like, "Guys, can we relax?"
Tets?
Little
Ooh.
Tets. DU Ivan refuses to call me Tetris or anything but Little Tets because of this story. Little Tets, just 24/7. I will rap my heart out, say the hardest bars of my life, and you'd be like, "Hey man, good job, Little Tets." And it's like, yeah,
Lil Wayne, one of the goats. That could be like an alter ego, Lil Tets.
I hate everything about it, but it's okay. We'll work it out. We'll work it out, Miami.
Okay, speaking of Miami, real quick, can you explain in your own words what's the difference between Miami and the rest of Florida? Not just South Florida, but the rest of Florida. Because, low-key, I feel like if we woke up tomorrow and they said, "Yo, Miami's its own state now," like, I'd understand. I'd be like, I'm not mad at it. I get it.
Okay, so I went to college in Tallahassee, and like, I'm perfect. I can perfectly like give you a synopsis of what this means. So, coming from Miami, going to school in Tallahassee, everyone that's not from Miami hates the people from Miami. Okay,
Why do you think that? What's going
it's
on?
because the lifestyle and the stuff that we're accustomed to, and the things that we were like able to see, like going out now as an adult doesn't hit the same because we've been going out since we were 16, 15,
16,
you know
yeah.
what I mean? You start at all ages. People's quinceañeras go for all night, you know what I mean? Like that's just a way different lifestyle.
I know this is a little annoying sometimes, but I really want to just get it out of you real quick because we're on this topic. I don't think we're going to come back to it. What's like one of the earliest clubs you've been to? Did you ever do like an all ages joint?
Of course, bro.
What's like
Of
one of the
course.
first ones? For me, it was Nocturnal. That's the first joint I ever went to in my life. Nocturnal,
rookie
right across the
season.
street from Mecca. Yeah.
Rookie season over here. Nocturnal. This guy.
You get it?
God,
Oh my
bro.
God.
Nocturnal.
So you know what I'm talking about. Awesome,
Yeah,
yeah.
bro.
Because you mentioned Purdy
You're
Lounge,
aging-
R.I.P.
Bro, you're
I've-
aging yourself. Your first one was Nocturnal.
Yeah, I'm legit.
Bro,
yeah.
I literally was in there wearing like rosaries and tight jeans back then. Like in
Yeah, you
18s.
were the OGs. I was like, yo, be careful. This is this guy.
Facts. So my first all ages joint, I went to Madhouse on Key Biscayne, which is now like Rusty Pelican. Rusty
Oh my
Pelican.
God, okay.
Yeah, Madhouse was Rusty Pelican.
That's crazy.
So my older sister,
Shout
huh?
out
Rusty Pelican. Right.
No, but
You know what I'm
Madhouse
saying?
was Rusty Pelican.
No,
It
Madhouse.
was where Rusty Pelican is, but it wasn't the Rusty Pelican.
No, I'm saying it's where Rusty Pelican is, but it wasn't back
Yeah,
then.
okay.
So my sister, who's 3 grades ahead of me, my mom and dad was like, "Oh, you want to go out? You got to bring him." And I was like, you know what I mean? And my best friend at the time was like, "All right, we got to go." So we go to the corner store because that's where you buy the 3X tall tees for $5.99. You know, pop them out the bag. Go into all ages. And I remember it was like the performers of the night, okay? Because back then it was performers. It was Lunch Money, right?
Wow, legend. Shout out Lunch Money. If
Shout
you're
out my
listening,
guy Lunch.
We know you
We
are.
went to high school together.
Dope.
Shout out my guy Lunch.
Wow.
That's little crypto.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So Lunch Money. Then Pretty Ricky. Pretty Ricky had just popped for Grind on Me, right?
Crazy.
Fun fact, the guy with the dreads, I forget his name, the rapper.
Not Pleasure. No. The rapper would be
The light skinned dude, the rapper, whatever.
Okay.
He snatched my boy's girl at that day, and I
Baby
was like,
Blue?
damn, right? So then, Pretty Ricky was there, and the main act was Pitbull.
Oh wow.
And this is when Pitbull had Culo, Damn It Man,
Shout out Chico Pitbull.
right? Like all that. And I remember being myself, I was like, he did Culo and brought up all these girls on stage. And I remember thinking to myself, damn, I'm really happy my girl's not here. You know what I mean? This would have been gone down really bad for that. But yeah, I used to go to Madhouse, all the phone parties. There was a spot in the Gables, or the Grove, I'm sorry.
Renaissance, Reno's.
609.
Oh.
Club 609. Right? And it
No,
was
609, Rey Mysterio.
yeah.
Club 609 was on South Beach, you know that.
No, wait, the original one, right? Okay, yeah, Club 609 in the Gables was the most incredible thing, right? And I always tell people that's what made me a man. I really believe those parties made me a man. Because, like, you walk up behind a girl and you don't know if she's going to dance with you, right? And then if she stops, gives you the look back, and she keeps dancing, is like, I made it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And nothing is more humbling than like you eyeing her from like the other side of the room, and you're like, I gotta get it. Gotta have her.
But it damn near sets you up for failure though, because like that only is like a Miami thing though. Like that's like other places, like you gotta talk to people and like you gotta have a conversation and be like, oh, let's go dance. Like
That's what I'm
like,
saying.
you
That's
feel
why
me?
we're all fucked up. Because
Right. So back to what we were talking about, why they think
That's what I'm
Miami
saying.
people are messed up. Okay,
So put it
I
like
see
this.
what you're saying, yeah.
So when I got to school in Tallahassee, you gotta like drive up and go through all these like weird towns. So in like when you learn about Florida, you go Miami, you go Fort Lauderdale, then you go Orlando, then you do Tampa, then there's like Pensacola might be like in there, and then Tallahassee and Gainesville. So it's like boom, 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 boom. So in my mind, we get to Tallahassee, and I'm like, yo, this is not Miami at all, right? So my college roommate, my guy Diego, is Colombian, right? So like in Miami, he's a majority, right? Because he's a Hispanic male, right? He's a majority, right?
Okay.
Everywhere else, he is not. Right?
Exotic. Oh, I get you.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's crazy.
So when we got to Tallahassee, or when like we would get back to Tallahassee, people would talk to him and be like, "Yo, what's up with your accent? What are you like? Where are you from?" And he's like, "I'm from Miami." And he's like, "They're like, oh, you guys have a Miami accent." And I'm like, "Shut up, Jacqueline. Where are you from? Middle America? Middle Earth?
Yeah,
you know what I
Idaho.
mean? Idaho or something like that." And then one of my favorite things, we would go out to the club. I worked at this spot called Baja's, and so did Diego. So we would pop into these spots. And at that weekend, it was FSU Miami weekend. So a lot of the people that we hung out with in Miami are now in Tallahassee.
You went to FSU?
Yes, the Florida State University.
Okay, cool.
Yes,
Got it.
the
Wanted
Florida
to confirm
State.
that.
Yeah, the Florida State University. So we have all of our boys up in Tallahassee. Everybody's in Tallahassee. Everything, right? We go. This is the first time like bottles is a thing. Okay.
Popping bottles. in
Popping
the club?
bottles is
Okay,
a
got
thing.
it.
This is now a thing. Refund checks have hit.
Yeah.
Everybody has extra income. Thank you, Uncle Sam. I had the bottles. It was $75 for a bottle. Okay.
Word.
$120 for the section. And I was like, damn, well, 75. That's, woo!
Wow, college town?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Well, if you're basically homeless, 75 is a lot. That's
Nah, homie, senior year of high school, we were doing the bottles in Euphoria, and then what was it before?
Euphoria.
There was something next to it, too. I forgot.
Can
It wasn't Euphoria. It was also something else. It was Heart, I think, or something else. It was Euphoria and something else. Bro, we were running up a check every weekend, doing anything we can.
Okay, but
stupid
see-
high schoolers.
See, that's what I'm
150,
saying.
one bottle. We had to get like 300 for two and then a little champagne. Ridiculous.
If they would have come to Tallahassee and said 300, the streets would have been blood red. Like nobody would have. It would have been anarchy. Like,
right?
never.
No, it made no sense. Yeah.
So it was like, obviously there's no Venmo, no Cash App. Everybody pull out $40.
School students, yeah,
Boom,
exactly.
boom, 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 boom.
Make
So
it
we get our
happen.
first bottle, and my boy Johnny, he's there, and it's like me, Johnny, Diego's brother, my guy Trent, a bunch of other people's or whatever, and the like bottles start coming. But because we're from Miami, we think we're like I need sparklers, I need a sign, I need the whole thing. I need the entire suite of things. Okay, like if you show up just with ice and Like the bottle chick doesn't even have her titties out. Like, what is this? What is this, amateur hour? You know what I mean? Like, like treat me like with respect. I am a paying customer, right? So then, like the lady, the bottle girl was like, "We can tell you guys are from Miami," and we were like, "Why?" And she's like, "Just because of how you act, how you everything, right? The culture's so different. Like, it just there could not be even more difference." And every person I know that went to school at UF, they hung out with Miami people. They didn't hang out with people that weren't from Miami. When I got to Tallahassee, all of my best friends I did not know from back home, but as soon as I saw them, I was like, that's it. Either the only people we hung out with was Miami people or people that were from New York that happened to be going to school in Tallahassee. So there's, culturally speaking, it's just a lot different. So, but if Miami was like its own thing, I'm okay with that. I have so much Miami gear, I'd be ready to go. I'd have like a national flag. It's fine.
So okay, and then so the name back, kind of circling back to the Tetris thing.
Mm-hmm.
Was it always King Tetris, or did you add the King afterwards?
You know, I don't appreciate you
Metamorphosis.
making these hard-hitting questions. This feels like 60 minutes, and I love it. All right? I just want to be clear. I love it.
That's what we do here. Heir Cast.
I want to lie. I really want to lie, but I can't. So
I appreciate the honesty.
my whole time, it was always Tetris, okay? It was always Tetris. It wasn't like... For a little bit, it was Kid Tetris, but like that was like my AOL Instant Messenger name, Kid Tetris or whatever,
Kid
right?
Tetris.
So I decide I want to rap, and I decide I'm going to get tattoos. So I put Tetris. That was my first tattoo, right? And then I go to upload my album, and I put Tetrus. I'm sorry, the name that you're trying to upload has been taken.
Screenshot of the text message of me misspelling his name.
Yeah. Seriously, we need that. I was like, sir, you're missing a one
I swear
letter.
it was the autocorrect. I really even
One
purposely
letter.
spelled it, and
It's
then
okay.
it swapped it. And then when I went to play on the message after, it swapped it again. I was gonna be like, oh my god.
It's okay, man. It happens to me
It
too. So I put it in the system, and it said, the name you're trying to use is done, right? And I was like, what the...
Nah.
Right? It's literally already on my arm. Like, I've been screaming Tetris for a decade.
Nah.
Somebody's using it. It was this DJ in Poland, okay? Had one mix out. It's Tetris. And I was like, shit. Then I put Kid Tetris, okay? That was taken, okay? And it was like this one reggae artist from Jamaica had one really terrible song. I apologize if anybody's listening and he's hearing it. I mean no offense, but
The
yes.
Tetris verse. All the
So I'm
different
like,
Tetrises.
what is happening right now? So then I was like, put King, and then the first one it was KNG Tetris, right? And then that was taken, and I was like, oh my god, am I gonna have to change my whole entire name after I've made an entire album screaming my name is Tetris and like all this, it's tattooed on me? And then King Tetris was there, and then I was like, all right, bet. Like, and then we added, like, the original logo just was Tetris, and then we put the Basquiat crown on top of it, like, shortly after, and that's where the name King Tetrus came from.
Drop the logo right here. Hell yeah. I love it. Okay, and then we were briefly talking about it. Shout out Speakeasy. Shout out Laces and Cypher Circle.
Cypher in the Circle.
Cypher in the Circle. Can you elaborate a little bit on that, on the Cypher Circle, and how that kind of stemmed for you with the group of Speakeasy kind of?
Sure. So in Tallahassee, I was a part of a group called Speakeasy, and it was like Gym Class Heroes meets like, I guess, just Gym Class Heroes. Now that I'm thinking about it, that was probably the most relatable thing, right? And it was like a group of random, just like colors of friendship, kind of races, like all different races of people. We had like one white guy, one Asian guy, one Spanish guy, a black guy. Like, it just was kind of one of those
the
things.
Avengers.
Yeah, basically the colors of friendship, like a Disney movie. And so I like rapped. We toured a little bit. We had a lot of fun with it. But then this thing in college you do called graduation kind of broke us all up a little bit, right? Like one person he became a doctor, which is wild to even say. I'm not even gonna say his name, but like, I'm like, dude, you're the doctor? Wild. And so I stopped doing music, and then I lived in New York for a bit, came back down, and then my buddy Laces was like, hey man, you should hit the Cypher. And I was like, I haven't rapped in forever, right? And H2O was in charge of Cypher in the circle, and then he hit me, he was like, hey man, like, he said, peace guy, why don't you come through to the Cypher? And I was like, all right, cool man, let's do some rap shit. And then that's where I met like some of my favorite people, like my guy Triple Z, Mighty Healthy, who has done like 1,000 things for me on the album, on Peace and Blessings, as well as Out of Tokens and the one we're about to drop soon. So that's where I fell in love with it again, and I was just trying to rap, you know what I mean? I think it kind of like saved my mental health during COVID, because I think like I always wanted to be that person, and I'm just happy I got the opportunity to do that. You know what I mean? Like I just finally kind of circled it and was like, all right, like I had trouble being honest with myself, or finding the balance between trying to be what everybody else wanted me to be, and then kind of like what I wanted to be and what was going to make me happy. And the Cypher kind of put me in a place where I was like, oh shit, I really love this. You know what I mean? Like I really, really, really love this rap stuff. So that's kind of that's why I always say, like, whenever anybody asks me about H2O or the Cypher or how it kind of popped off, it saved my life. You know what I mean?
Word. How much inspiration do you need to follow a dream?
This guy's good.
Guy's better.
I don't even know. I think like the guts behind it takes a lot, right? Because at the time, right, I felt like I picked the wrong people to be in my life, picked the wrong people to date, picked the wrong jobs, picked everything, poorly, right? And that was actually one of the second records I wrote. Like, it was like Please Please, and then it was like Inspiration, then I did Timeless. But Inspiration was crazy because it just kind of popped off. You know what I mean? Like that was one of my favorite records. That one, I don't even understand. Like, when people tell me they like my songs, it's like, really? Wow, man, thanks. Like, I just write them on my couch. Like,
it's a great feeling.
Yeah.
That, and then seeing random people that don't even know you exist but are using your music like to for workout videos and like,
dude,
their kids, for their pets.
It's incredible.
I love that feeling. It's the best.
It's like, my DMs are filled of people just being like, hey man, like, Dreams Coming True is doing really, really well, right? So people are always like, this is my workout vid, or like randomly, I never thought like I just got tagged in a video where this girl was doing her makeup listening to like my raps, and I was like, I don't know if I would correlate my super high pitched voice and my like hardcore rap to like you doing makeup, but hey man, whatever works. So it's super nice.
The art's not for us, it's for the people to digest, and
true.
beauty's in the eye of the beholder type. It's crazy.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and the dreams are coming true, man. Over 500,000 streams right now on the new album, right? It's incredible. Now 6, right? You were just saying 6.
Yeah, about 600,000 so far.
How does that feel? What's the mind state right now with that success and the DMs? Like that's I strive for that. I get so happy. It makes my entire day when I see one person make a clip. So I could imagine, you get your flowers on the daily, dude. You're paying your dues.
So, in like a super vulnerable way, like, it's tough to instantly digest. Like, when I did Out of Tokens, it was out of necessity for myself, right? Like, I didn't really try to learn how to rap. I didn't try to do anything crazy. It just was like, this is what's on my head. It took us 3 days to come up with. Like, we recorded it in like 3 days, 4 sessions. The mix we didn't worry about. It was just like, all right, let's put it out. And then I looked at the numbers the other day. That entire album is at like 120,000 streams, right? And then the one song that I did not put on the album was US1, where I didn't put that on the album. And, shout out to my guy Manny. We've kind of fought a bunch of times on like what to put on albums and whatnot. And thinking back, I'm like, yeah, this probably should have been on the album, right? Like, it probably should have been on the album. But I had it just as a Lucy, and I let it go, and then that kind of changed the trajectory, and it was like, oh shit, probably should try to get better at this rap thing. And then we come up with this album, but the album shifted, and it was made out of like heartbreak and necessity. You know what I mean? Like, it just, I wasn't happy, and it kind of you could tell, like, in the writing process, it goes from like happy, and then there's like a big drop off, right? And we come out with the album, and then we don't really know what's happening. We don't have endless amounts of budget. It's not like we have a whole big backing. It's pretty much on the backs of the support system, myself and Manny. And we came out with the album, and then we wake up, and then it's like we're number 2 on the iTunes charts, and the only person above us is Drake. And then I was like, oh, like maybe I don't suck. You know what I mean? Like maybe I don't suck at this. And then we charted, but like for multiple days, which is like never heard of from like an indie artist. And so that moment was kind of crazy. And then like now that I look back at pretty much the last 6 months of just, you know, kind of going at it. And I remember when my goal was to get 1,000 monthly listeners, and then like at our peak we were almost close to 14, 15, and then like now we're just walking around with 12 to 13,000 a month. And then my goal was just to be happy with it. And I think like it's just crazy to digest. And now it's cool because, you know, now songs are on radio. Like we were on 103.5. We've been on all these different, you know, radio stations, and it's just been like such a great experience. And what's been kind of the coolest is at my album release party, my parents are never in a good mood, like together, right? Like they can't be in the same room, right? Like they just can't be in the same room. And I remember like the album comes out, and if the 2 things you never want to tell your black parents is that if you're a girl, that you are a stripper, or if you're like a guy, you're a rapper. Like that's just like, you don't do, like my parents are so traditional and Southern, like they have failed as parents. Like me telling my mom, I was like, you know, Mom, like I think I wanna rap. And she's like, who baby wanna rap? Like you don't know my mom, but if I played a clip of my mother, you'd be like, oh, that's the perfect spot on impersonation. And then, you know, my parents just didn't get it, and they both came to the album release party, and like they saw it and digested it. And like my dad's traveling the world wearing Peace and Blessings t-shirts. It's like the cutest thing in the world. And so like it's super overwhelming, but I wouldn't have it any other way. You know what I mean? Like growing up, my dad used to say, dreams don't work dreams don't work unless you do. My grandfather used to say, keep working, it's working. And then also, that's one grandfather. My other grandfather used to always say peace and blessings. So that's kind of like how my mantras, you know, he was a reverend in the church. So every time he would walk up to somebody and meet them, he'd be like this: peace and blessings, peace and blessings, peace and blessings.
Wow.
Right? So that's how I came up with the album.
Both.
Yeah. So
That's
keep
awesome.
working, or keep working, it's working, and peace and blessings. So it's been great. A lot of sleepless nights, a lot of hard nights. Cause like now you kind of have a meter to range yourself against, right? So it's like, we knew how much work it took to get this. Now it's gonna take another Herculean amount of effort. More. That's the clip right there. Yeah. So it's funny because Manny actually like came up with kind of like the title of it or whatever, right? He always was saying to me like, fuck it, bro, we need more. Like we need more. Like I need more bars, I need more cadences, more flows, more success, more happiness, right? And then it was like, fuck it, I just need more, bro. And that's kind of where we're rocking with it. And like I'm just really happy with where the progress has gone from the, like my pin stake and being really methodical around like what to do, what to put out, the image, and like, you know, always trying to put on a good show, always trying to put on good energy. So it's coming soon.
Oh yeah. And can you explain the sample at the end of Click Twice? It's like a shorty talking. What's that from?
Miami girls be like, you know what I mean? So I always show love to Miami, and I thought the clip was hilarious. It was like, you don't like him, but yeah, like he's super tall and like he's super funny, right? And I was like, yeah, clearly I'm super tall and I'm super funny, right? Like it just fits, right? It fits, you know what I mean? Like before we started, hey BB, am I still 6 feet? Oh, see, there you go, right? We got one person to say yes. So yeah, that's I snatched it off of TikTok. It just fit really, really well. And
Awesome.
I always say it's Miami over everything. So there's always little bits and pieces of Miami that like, if you're not from here, you wouldn't get. But like if you hear it, you'll kind of identify with it.
I felt like I had heard it before. I felt like I was having deja vu. I was like, where did he get this clip from? Like, it's
what do you
something
mean?
hear all
You
the
got
time.
that from like any girl you've ever met south of like Coral Way, bro.
You hear it all the time. Somebody hearing this podcast are like, I just heard this yesterday in the club.
Yeah,
Like,
facts. Facts.
It's cool because it's right. That record comes right before Love Jones, which is also like one of my favorite records off the whole project. It's very sly. It's very smooth. Just gangster record. I think it's I Am Iconic. That's the feature on it. It's
Iconic.
dope.
Yeah.
Dope.
So, quick story about that. You know, I graciously and affectionately hate him so much. I hate him so.
Drop him right here.
Like, I hate him so much. We had been going to the we hang out all the time. He's my DJ. We hang out all the time, and our group chat is filled of vintage tees, sneakers, something happening with Kanye, current events, all this stuff, right?
That's so funny.
We had a show for Crazy Hood that we were not Crazy Hood. We had a show. I think we were doing Lincoln's Brewery. We're ready to put the album, like, turn it in. We're like the end of practice for this show, right?
Yeah.
And he has all the music. It's not like he's like the person telling me what to rap. Okay, I tell him what type of crowd it is. He puts together the set. He puts together everything. I just simply rap. He does everything else.
That's
okay,
awesome.
He picks the set. Manny gives us the green light, and then we go rock. Right? I have very little to do with the set. Right? At the end of practice, he goes, "Hey man, I just been working on this. I just, whatever. Can you hear it? Can you just listen to it or whatever?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure, man." He's like, "Yeah, I've been working on this for about a couple months, and like, I might just put it out on SoundCloud, right?" And I'm like, "All right, yeah, cool, just play it, bro. Like, no worries." He presses play, and it's Love Jones, right? And I'm like,
way.
do you hate me?
That's
Do you
crazy.
dislike me?
That's crazy.
Right? Like, why are you putting, like, you treat me like an ugly stepchild sometimes, right? And he's like, I mean, like, if you want it, I mean, you could have it for the project. And I'm like, bro, like, of course, yes, I want this for the project. And then I rapped my heart out the first rendition of it. And he looked at me in the car and was like, nah, that's bad. That was, like, not it. And I was like, oh, all right. So then I did it again, and I said the same verse twice, back to back. The ones that he said sucked. There's the same verses I said to him, and he was like, "Yo, man, that shit was hard." And I was like, "You just don't listen to anything I'm saying at all." Like, he doesn't listen to anything I'm saying. But I love him. That's my brother. But yeah, that's one of the ones people really like.
That's a dope one. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then you also say too that at one point you were too busy living, you forgot to live.
Yeah.
What was there, like, a moment, a catalyst that made you realize that or made you feel that way? Was there, like, a specific moment? What was going on that made you write that bar? What were you thinking of when you wrote that?
Man, I kind of felt like everyone kind of tells you, like, how to be happy, right? Like, your friends and family have this, like, vision of you and set, like, expectations around what happiness looks like, right? Like, your parents always say, I just want the best for you, right? But, like, what if the best for me is just I simply want to be happy, right? And I think, like, I was super Miami'd out. I was popping bottles, spending my retirement on everybody's section. I was going out all the time and, surrounding myself with people that, like, really wasn't my energy. And I think I told my parents, I was like, yo, like, I did everything you guys told me to do. You said, go to school, did that. Get the good job, did that. Date this girl, get that, right? And I think, like, after every day, I was like, I'm just not happy, right? So, but I was so busy trying to live, like, trying to, like, hit live and do all these clubs and stuff that I forgot to, like, actually enjoy it. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
forget what everybody else says and all that. And I think, like, when Iconic and I and Manny and I, we all linked up, I think the biggest thing that we said was lacking in most music is authenticity, right? Like, I am everything in my records, right? Like, I am that. I'm
From Miami.
Yeah, 100%, 100%, all day, every day. So I think, like, some people go to live and trying to live for a living, you know what I mean? I was like, what's the next part? Oh yeah, life filled with women, will I ever see children? Lord, I know you bless me, but when these moments end, the reward, acknowledgement, but not intent, because times is hard, sometimes you have to vent, you know what I mean? When you said this life in me, tell me exactly what you meant, for real, it's like the wheel you gotta reinvent, you know what I mean? Like, it just, I was comfortable being myself, right? I didn't want to be anybody else, right? So I think that's the hardest thing people do in music is that they make music for what people want to hear, where I like just try to just rap whatever I want, and then we try to make it digestible as possible. So yeah.
That's crazy. And please, you mentioned how you asked God to break you away from things that are breaking you. What was breaking you?
I think the burden of just trying to be, like I said, like I think like
piggybacking off that.
Yeah, so I
the
think
pressure, validation.
So the last line really in Please Please got cut out, right? It said the last line is, I'm conflicted. It's a gift that I've been given. Money makes a difference. Will you start to act different? Holy is my spirit. Let's hope the heavens hear it. No more lies. It's time to tell the truth. Welcome to phase 2, right? Like the phase 2, second phase of your count But again, I didn't know how to count bars back then, so like I just like
went off.
Yeah. And then like my engineer was like, "Hey buddy, you're at like 26 bars for this one verse." So
by the way,
you kind of went over the limit. So I think like some people talk about when they grow, it's like a religious experience, right? And I think my mother, her favorite record from James Brown is Please Please.
Oh.
Right? And that's where the sample comes from in the beginning. And I just was like, I feel like finding yourself is almost like a religious experience, right? It's like the fear of unknown versus the fear of what you actually already can go back home to, right? Most people stay in toxic relationships or relationships that don't suit them because like they'd rather know the devil they know than trying to figure out if you're a devil or an angel.
Comfortability.
You know what I mean? So it's like, do I go back to what's easy, right? Like lying, being inconsistent, getting like stepping over people to get everything that I want, doing the corporate America thing, and like being like, I make so much money, I don't care about your feelings. You know what I mean? I think like, or even like at that point I had just broken up with an ex, and I think like it was like I can't. The easy thing to do would go back to this, right? But like I said, I tried it everybody else's way, right? And I just wasn't happy. You know what I mean? And I think like every day, and most of my friends make fun of me for being the ray of sunshine that I am, right? Like I try my best to laugh and smile. So I think like that line meant a lot to me. God helped me break away from things that's breaking me. You know what I mean? Like you never know, what you idol or what you worship, but as long as you're not idle with it, you'll be all right. So
bars.
I didn't mean for that to be a bar, but like that's a bar. I might need to like put that.
No man,
that's like some like bottle chicks like caption on Instagram talking about her son or something like that. Like Jaden's my king as long as you're not idle. You know what I mean? Shout out to all the Jadens out there.
And the bottle girls. And speaking of bottle girls and hard things and easy things, what's hard for me is dancing and bachata. What are some beginner advice tips for somebody trying to learn how to dance bachata?
God, I love how every time I do an interview now, people talk to me about it or whatever.
That's good.
It's so funny. It's like a party trick that like I picked up on because, like I said, growing up and most of my friends were either Dominican or Colombian, and when I mean like I'm black, like my parents are from Alabama black. Like you turn down Owens Plantation to get to my grandparents' house. Like I'm not joking. Like you come down the street, there's a sign that says Owens Street on Owens Plantation. Like that's like a real life thing, right? That's how black we are. Okay. So growing up, I remember my parents were like, I'm like, Mom, I got invited to something called a quinceañera, and she's like, what is that? You know what I mean? And I'm like, I guess like it's a party, you know what I mean? And then she's like, all right, cool. So I remember going to like somebody's backyard and like being the only person not speaking Spanish and like having to learn how to dance and like not understanding anything. So at that point, I like only knew like the basic ding, 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 right? 3 steps like back to back to back. So I get to college, and at the time I'm dating a Dominican girl, right? And I, like we're talking and she goes, at the time, I had done like 15 quinceañeras, I felt like. Like I was like in the tackiest suits all the time. Like every 6 months, I was getting fitted in somewhere in Hialeah.
It's like the token like, black guy for quinceañeras.
100%,
like, we need a black
bro.
guy. This is the one.
This is it, bro.
He's got the dances.
Bro. And like I remember being like, this is I feel like this is a bit much, but it's all right. So
Good workout.
like whatever. So I learned how to dance, right? But I was really at the King Sayeras because like that was like when my first introduction to like dembow and like reggaeton. And I'm like, I can like be on top of this girl and like no one, everybody's good. Like Granny's right there.
This is
All
cool.
right. You know what I mean?
You like this? You want this?
Like you want this? All right.
That's such a crazy way to look at it.
I'm
That's
literally
hilarious.
on top of homegirl, right? And Granny's like, okay with it. And I'm like,
Madness. It's the 15s. It's the quinceañera. This is
oh
cool.
my God. Right? So at that point, I was like, I have to do my research. I got to learn everything I need to know about this culture because clearly they're doing it right. They are doing it right. So I'm dating her and I'll never forget this. We went to this spot, Boulevard. Okay.
Bullies. Shout out bullies.
It was my first time going to like a real Dominican club, right? Not like a King Sayada, not like choreographed or anything. So everybody knows like the progression of every Spanish club in America, right? They play salsa, at least Dominican clubs. They play salsa for like 0.2 seconds because like no one's dancing salsa at the Dominican clubs, right?
Okay.
They play salsa, they play típico, they play merengue, and then the DJ comes around. It's like, I'm going to slow it down, right?
Okay.
And then it's like, that's where I saw like people really get busy. I was just like, okay. So then she's like, do you know how to dance this? And I was like, I've done a million King Sayeras. Yes, I do, right? But I only know the little baby footwork. I don't have any other footwork. I know 2 turns. That's it. That's all I got, right? And a really happy face. We dance 2 songs. I've never seen this much disappointment in her face, like at all, right? And I'm like, damn, what's going on, right? This dude that was 300 pounds minimum.
Good.
Minimum.
On the other part, you said 4, so I
Right?
like how you're bringing
Minimum,
it down.
just
At least
minimum 300,
At least
right?
it's 3
Minimum,
to 4 range.
right?
That guy's listening to your pods like, this guy.
Yeah, this fucking guy, right? He comes up to me and he's like, hey. He like puts his hand out and he's like, hey, do you mind if I dance with her? And I'm like, I'm so secure. I'm like, yeah, man, dance with her. She's crazy. You know what I mean? Like, it's fine. You can have her. Like, whatever. They start dancing and I see her face. And I was like, I messed up here. This was not okay. This guy, like, she literally came back and did one of these. And I was like, right? Yeah. She goes like this.
Anyways, so
are you okay? And I was like, what the fuck was
just
happened? Did he just walk my chick on the dance floor? Right?
Wow.
So
that's
then
crazy.
I'm like, nah, bro. I got on YouTube, learned my little, my drop steps, my footwork, everything.
YouTube,
YouTube,
nice, fire.
right?
Okay. Dope.
And so then we got back down to Miami, and she was like, you want to go to Boulevard? And I was like, yeah, whatever. Chick,
Do you want to go to
know what I mean?
Boulevard?
So then it gets past like the dembow, ass shaking shit, all that stuff, right? And then
Your
it's
time.
like, it's like, you've been to Boulevard, right?
Yeah.
So there was like clicks by the corners, right? So like the bar's like right here. You have like the women's bathroom on the other side. You have like the guys'
It
bathroom.
was always clicked out. Yeah, my memory of
Always
that place
clicked.
is always clicked out.
Always
Dangerous.
super clicked up, right?
Yeah.
And there was like always like a huge group of like lesbians and dykes like in the middle, right? That would like kill all of the space, right? Because they were like dancing and everything, right? And then I literally was like, her homegirl was like, oh, you want to dance? And I was like, I know this feeling now. We're not doing this again, right? Not twice, not 2 weeks in a row. We get on the dance floor and she's like looking at me and she was like, wow, you can dance. And I was like, I know. You know what I mean? I know. So it's like a little party trick now. And like, I used to have like so much endurance. BB like is one of the people I dance with or whatever. And when I told her that I could dance, and, she's from New York, she doesn't believe anybody that says. Like, you can go outside, the sky's blue. It's not blue. You know what I mean? Like, let me check. It's not blue. Right? And I'm like, no, I could dance. My happy Southern go lucky, yeah, I could dance. And she's like, yeah, whatever. Right? And I'm like, all right, cool. Bang, 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 bang. So if you ever need some help, I would check out YouTube, or you just gotta go like a Dominican club and dance with like the old ladies with like the super tight grips. Like they always have the super tight grip on you because they're trying to lead you. You know what I mean? Like with the old ladies, you can't like do the crazy turns and stuff. So I would do that. That would be number one.
That's good. That's great advice. Okay, and then so where'd you learn Spanish? Is it through that process of like with the girlfriend and then like dancing, or like where does that come in and like ordering food in Spanish specifically?
I know what you're doing.
Yeah,
I know what you're
I
doing,
hope
and
you
I
do.
hate it. I hate you so much,
Whoa.
sir. That
Alley-oop.
that is you. You know what? You should have been on the Olympic team. That was a beautiful segue, and I boycott this part of the pod, but I will do it because I committed to being honest.
Real one.
Son of a bitch. Man. This, you mean why I stopped speaking Spanish? Like you want to?
Give me the answer you don't want to give. Let's do that story.
All right. So I'm like, my best friend, his girl at the time, or now his wifey, is Colombian, and at the time he was like, we should learn Spanish, and I was like, dude, if you guys have kids, you're not gonna be able to talk to your kid, right? Because your kid's gonna only speak Spanish. And he was like, damn, you're right. So at the time, one of my colleagues, shout out to Diana, she was like, for an hour a day, you're only speaking Spanish. Like, I don't care about anything else. You have to speak Spanish for an hour a day, right? So I was like, all right, like, this doesn't seem so hard, until like every day for that 1 hour, I would go into panic attacks because like I was like, I don't have enough words. Like, you know what I mean?
In what environment are you speaking to people? Because like, what if you're just like going an hour without talking to people, and you're like, oh, I got out of the hour.
So
without
I
talking
tried that
Spanish.
loophole. Didn't work. Did not work.
Okay,
So the whole office, I was the only
You're in an office.
Yeah, I was the
Got it.
only non-Spanish speaker in the office.
Oh,
Okay.
wow.
So
That's crazy.
I'm like, there's like a couple Colombians, couple people from Venezuela, couple people from Mexico, and like all their Spanish just sounded like they were singing. Like I was like, I don't even know if this is Spanish.
Very
like,
musical,
It just sounds like you know, I'm like, I don't know what's happening. You know what I mean?
Right.
So one day they're like, hey Greg, why don't you order our food for us? And I said, hey man, no problem, I can handle this. My homie Danny goes, hey man, I want the chicken breast. And I said, I know what chicken breast is, no problem. So then the lady comes to the table, and then they say, I'm the only person ordering food, like for everybody, because I'm practicing my Spanish. Okay, I get through everybody's order except his. Okay, I made a little mistake, right? Instead of saying pechuga de pollo, okay, I said tetas de pollo, and apparently that's not it. Apparently, chicken breast and chicken titty is not the same thing. So after that, hey, shut up, okay? People are learning, all right? Classic.
That's crazy, but okay. Yeah.
So I tried to.
I see what you did. I get it.
I messed up with the little chicken titties. It's not it. You know what I mean? it's not it. You know. You know what I mean?
That is pretty crazy.
And after that, I just they called me chicken titties for a long time, and I've never really bounced back. You know what I mean? And actually, the worst part of that whole day is not the chicken titties day. It was that the same waitress came to the table when it came time to sign the thing, right? I thought I was asking for a pen, okay? Apparently, pene means penis in Spanish, not pen. So this poor old lady, I asked for chicken titties and a dick to sign my fucking receipt. Like, this is absolute worst.
You left that restaurant. She was like, "That's the most peculiar guy I've ever had in this restaurant."
I have not gone back to La Carreta at all since then.
Oh wow, shout out La Carreta. Mm-hmm. And speaking of kicks, you mentioned earlier you're a big shoe guy. What's your favorite SB? You have a favorite SB?
Ooh, you touched my soul on that one. Favorite SBs, I'll do Tiffany's, Sea Crystals. I also really, really, really love like Mork and Mindy's, Pee Wee Herman's, Ferris Bueller's.
Wow, Ferris
Bueller's.
Cool. Yeah.
Fuck, those are so hard.
Those are really cool.
I also they kind of mudded this shoe out a little too hard, but the Janoski, like the little like Nike SB boat shoe or whatever. And I remember I used to go so hard on those because in my business classes in college, you could not wear sneakers. You had to wear like boat shoes or something like that.
Wow.
And I was sliding, a little Janoski. But Tiffany's is definitely, oh man, damn, going down the line here. Larry Perkins Chirpin' Birds. There was like a little pocket, right, in like the tongue, and you pressed it, and it was a little chirping bird, and it was all denim.
No way.
All denim.
That's
all denim.
crazy. It's like a toy.
Yeah, and then like
crazy.
this dude in college would like bleach it was all denim. So he put bleach on my all denim sneaker, and they came out like acid washes. It's just so hard.
Wow.
So hard,
That's
bro.
crazy. Do you still have those or no? Yeah.
No. I sold like 25 pairs of shoes like in 2012, and I bought a Nissan Altima. So
Nice.
yeah.
Hey, Altima gets you places. You
It
know?
did. It did.
So do shoes.
It did.
Shoes, yeah.
It did.
Finish the bar. I ain't trying to be perfect. I'm trying to be.
Is that my bar?
Yeah.
Like, I ain't trying to be perfect.
I'm trying to be. Inspired.
Oh, I was like, wait, no. I have 2 lines that I say I ain't trying to be perfect. I'm trying to make it worth it. And then
Okay, word. Yeah.
I
and then
ain't trying to be perfect.
I'm trying to be inspired. Word. Yeah. And it's inspirational to me because we've met a couple times. I think the Viano times, the first time I ever seen you, we put together a show, and then I seen you rock, and then a couple months later, we did another one like in an in-studio performance type of situation. And then one time I seen you rock, and your mom was out there, and then I heard you talk on another interview how that you mentioned the story earlier too, the full circle moment, how your mom didn't want you to be a rapper.
No. No.
So that listening party was that moment where your mom kind of it all clicked and she was more like accepting when she was cool with it. Is it that moment?
I think like once she understood my content was still very much me, I think like she was worried I was gonna say things like I grew up in the hood and I struggled and I shot people and sold drugs on the corner and stuff when like I went to private school and played tennis. You know what I mean? Like there's a different life. You know what I mean? Like it's just like I can't claim that. You know what I mean? Like I was hood adjacent. You know what I mean? Like I was always there.
I love hood adjacent.
You know what I mean? Like
That's
I was
merch. We're gonna make
like,
that merch.
I was hood adjacent. Like when hood shit was going on, I was like the kid that everybody fuck with because I was just the people. Like I just rapped and I had sneakers and shit, right? But like that just was where I was at.
Yeah.
But the music's still very much true to myself, and I think like at that point she was like, oh shit, like you're good at this, and you know, and like I don't curse a lot, I don't like talk down to women a lot, you know, because like my voice isn't deep enough to even do that. One, fuck you guys. How about that? How about that?
I
Right?
just feel like Pop Smoke would have been like,
You know what I
what are
mean?
you talking about?
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like,
You know,
like I tried to make like a get money get bitches song, right? And I remember like I recorded it and I played it for like some of my friends, and I thought it was so hard. He was like, hey man, I just need you to relax. Okay,
Wow.
this isn't you. Okay, this isn't you.
All right, and real quick, Tetris, to wrap up the episode, I have one segment we wrap it up with, but we're gonna do 2 quick ones too. I have a shoot your shot segment that I'm working on, where sometimes guys just want to shoot the shot at girls to guys. Artists, we get to shoot our shot at producers and artists we want to work with. Who's an artist and a producer you'd like to collab with that you haven't had the chance to?
Me, Chance the Rapper, Childish Gambino are gonna make a super group called Hey Mom, We're Black Rappers. That's
love that.
That's gonna happen.
So,
So those are 3 that I think would be fun to do records with. I'd love to do a record with Action Bronson. I think that would be dope. A part of me is like, I think also, God, Vince Staples would be kind of cool to do something with, right? Like anybody that has like a lot of personality on records. Like I really enjoy those people. You know what I mean? Yeah.
I hear Action Bronson being like playing Tetris for Tetris.
I would cry.
Yeah, it'd be crazy.
I would cry. Or doing like a record with like West Side Gun and like Benny the Butcher, where like they're talking the most drug infested bars, and I'm like, hey man, you know my mom didn't let me go out that one time. You know what I mean? Like I want to like have it
the hood adjacent
shit.
perspective,
you know what I mean? Like,
with their perspective. That's
you know
cool.
what I'm
That's
saying?
gangster.
Like that's what I want to
actually
do.
awesome.
Like, you know, mom didn't let me go past curfew.
That's fine.
You know what I mean? Like something like that. But those would be that. Obviously, like Kanye. I'd love to do a record with Kanye, but I think for me, my end game would be like a Wale, Lupe Fiasco, somebody who's like, I pride myself on wordplay, so like somebody who just like bends words, like Lupe and
Wale's
Wale.
big for that. Yeah, he's big
so,
for that.
Yeah.
Okay, and then we're gonna do a big 3. This is a game we have. It's a game we play at the end of every episode. It's a draft. So there's always a topic to the draft. We were talking about Miami earlier, so I want to do Miami things, like Miami benefits, things that only people in Miami experience. So I'm talking like beaches, no snow, no winter. Like like you could do Miami Legends. You could do anything.
Bro, you and
from
I
Miami.
both know
Flannies.
there's sand, but there's plenty of snow in Miami, bro. Like we both
Well,
know that.
That's
Like,
wild, but yeah,
we
but
both know that, bro. Like just call it what it is. You know what I mean?
let's keep it Miami things, and it could be people. Like it could be Miami Legends, damn near. You could say fucking Uncle Luke type shit. All types of shit. But like let's. And one by one, it'll be a draft. So like if you had something in mind and I end up picking it, you can't pick it type shit. So guest always goes first. What's your first pick for something that's
Super Miami.
super Miami? Yeah.
Or like a Miami benefit.
Miami perk, benefit, person, anything. Yeah, Miami things. Yeah,
Cuban coffee.
that's great. That's great. Yeah, low key, one of my picks are gonna be La Ventanilla, like being able to get Cuban coffee from La Ventanilla. So you just stole one of my picks. That's awesome. I'll hit it with the beaches, man. Like people live their whole lives and die and aren't and be able to enjoy a beach like that type of shit. So I think we're blessed with El Farito. That's my favorite beach. And my South Beach is just it's real mainstream with the partying, but like good solid beaches you could enjoy. I think that's incredible. So the beaches. What's
it's so funny because like I've still been to the beach maybe 10 to 12 times, like lifetime, right? Like
wow.
still, like I guess because my parents aren't from here, that like we weren't socialized or like brought up going to the beach. Like I wake up every day tan. I'm tan like right now. You know what I mean? So like I'm already tan. Like the purpose of it, I'm like I'm still black every day. Every day I'm still black. Wake up. So I'm like, I've never really done beaches. I used to go to beaches obviously with some of my friends, but like the feeling most people feel at the beach of like one with the world, I think that just never really caught me. You know what I mean? Just because I'm always black and it's hot out there. You know what I mean?
When I was a kid, I hated on it. My mom loved it, and I was always a pool kid. I loved
Pool
I
all
loved
day.
the vibe at the pool. We're chilling.
Vibe all
when
day.
it gets too much, we're too close. Like,
Yeah.
but now as I've gotten older, I have that world connection. I just feel like I got to check in. Yesterday, I went to the beach for the first time all year, and I just felt like, damn, man,
I just need
I'm
to
always
see
by
where
the
the bottom
beach,
is, though.
but like to actually go in.
You know,
But yeah, when you go to the beach here in the shore, like
Nope.
you could be in walking distance. What you
nope.
talking
I just
about?
was in the Bahamas like 2 weeks ago.
You're
Loved
6
it.
feet tall. What are you talking about?
Yes, I still need to see the bottom of the floor. Okay, I see what you did there. I hate it and love it at the same time. So, the pool, I got to see the bottom of the floor, right?
Word.
Just because, like, what's Deep Blue Sea with LL Cool J? You ever seen that movie?
Legendary movie, one of my favorite movies of all time.
That's the only movie the black guy doesn't die first. Like,
It makes it to the end, literally.
He makes it to the end.
Yeah.
But every other movie, the black guy always dies first. And if it's a water movie, he dies by like
And then-
something like hitting him by the foot. And then it's like, hey guys.
And in Deep Blue Sea's defense, they do have a great black guy dying moment with Samuel Jackson. Spoiler alert. That's one of the best. That's life-changing moment for me, like in movie history. Watching that, I was like, yeah, because he has this crazy speech, and I'm like, yeah, let's kill these sharks. And then, yeah, watch the movie. Anyways.
And that's kind of what killed my like the same thing with like Final Destination. I don't like driving behind like those semis, you know
Yeah,
what I mean?
with the truck, with the wood
So
logs.
it's like, no, I don't want to do that. So if I can't see what's in the water, get away from me. I hate it.
Wow.
Right? So being beaches, probably not. But I get it.
What's your
know what I mean?
second pick then?
The random like 10 you see like at a gas station, right? Like I feel like in my
baddies.
the baddies, like
That's a great pick.
it's like
That's
it's
a great
almost
pick.
like it's so wildly like flagrant. You know what I mean? Like it's
Yeah.
almost like
There's nowhere else.
there's just nowhere else like this where like you walk into a gas station, right?
We're so spoiled with
You
the
walk-
beaches and the beaches.
Right? So like you walk into a gas station and it's like, hey, can I get like 10 on 4? Right? And then it's like, what life decisions did you do to get you here? And you're like an absolute smoke show. You know what I mean? And it's like, what? Right? So like I just feel out of anywhere else on the planet, you're just not gonna get that, right?
10 on 4. We got a 10 on pump number 4 over here.
I see what you did there, and I hate it and love it at the same time.
Well, speaking of baddies and being in Miami, I love how you can just find a baddie in my second pick, Flannies. Flannies is amazing. And like I've told many baddies just walking in. and
Talk
just
that
vibing.
ish.
So Flannies is my shit.
So you know what? Flannies is gonna work for me too because BB actually she hadn't gone to Flannies and like enjoyed it the way that like locals enjoyed it, right? So I was like, yo, it's Wing Wednesday. She's
Yeah.
like, I'm like, yo, let's go to Wing Wednesday. She's like, what type of wings they got, right? And I was like, they have the best wings ever. And she's like, what type of wings they got, right? In her New York accent. And I was like, just like, let me order. she's like, I don't trust you. And I was like, oh, well, that's the lady's like waiting for us to order. And I'm like, can we do this later? You know what I mean? And then she's like, I'm like, let me I got rib rolls, wings, and then it was obviously the pitcher, and then the brownie joint, right? The brownie joint.
Okay.
Right. I just want to shout out the people that deal with the plight of being lactose.
To be honest, I think it's kind of like, I feel like lactose just means like you're more vulnerable, but low-key milk fucks anybody up. Like, it's like we're not supposed to be drinking, like we're the only animal that drinks the milk of another animal. Like, it's madness. I feel like we're brainwashed into thinking milk is good for us when it's really not. I feel like it's really crazy for us.
I had a wonderful dessert at Le Chic, and it was made up. I don't know what it was, but it was delicious. It had like brownies, cookies,
delicious,
ice cream, but like they came with like hot chocolate, like the sundae type chocolate, not like
on the side to pour yourself,
to pour like on top. It broke the top layer, okay? And I was like, Greg, this lactose is gonna kill you.
Yeah. I
had to risk it, okay? I had a couple bites, and I was like, I kind of hate it, but I kind of love it. So then I went back in, ruined my day, absolutely ruined my day.
Yeah, it's crazy what we do to ourselves to poison
Honestly.
ourselves with food.
And
what's your third pick, T? I'm sorry, you were gonna
pick.
say, my bad, you were gonna add something to
No,
that?
third pick. Besides Flanny's,
Doesn't have to be food. Like that's just something I love about Miami. That's why I wanted to.
I think
pick
culture, right? I think like people here are. I think the reason why people from New York and Miami get along so well, right, is because like of the robust culture, right? So like in New York, you have like one block where it might be like Albanian, and you'll meet somebody who's Albanian and Puerto Rican, where it's like, how, you know what I mean? And down here, the culture is so rich, and I think like sometimes people in the music industry, they kind of put everybody in a box. I think where I've been able to be successful is that like US1 popped because it talks about Miami from a lens that's not partying, that's not drugs, that's just like, this is what's about the city. Right. And I think that there's so much about the culture, so much about the history. And I think that's where I wish more people would look at it. Right. Because I love the turn up. I literally offered to do the turn up after this. Right. Like, but but I think like the culture being so robust, and I think it's awesome what you guys are doing here. And I remember writing in the DM when you guys first started. I was like, I need to be on here.
ASAP,
you know what I mean?
Sure.
And I just think that like culture is something that we're trying to build on. And I don't want to go on a tangent, but Manny and I talk about it all the time. I think like if we worked in unison, right, with all of the up and coming acts, now it's just not like, oh, there's just somebody who's cool from Miami that we can listen to, right? And it's like, no, this is a movement. This is something that like we're gonna invest in. People are invested in the stories, right? Like I love what Shadow League's doing. I love Mowgli. I love Shadi. I love Ivan. I love Choco. I love all these people, right? But I think like if we were on the same page, it forces people to like look at it, from that angle, right? It's I just think that we have so much more to digest than BBLs and popping bottles, right? Like,
yeah.
Just in my opinion, but I think that's what kind of makes it fun. I know we're coming to the end, but I think the one thing I wanted to make sure I hit was like, music's supposed to be fun, but the process behind catching your dream isn't, right? Like, the sacrifices that's going to take, the amount of effort it's going to take, right? Like, can you take your best day and like put it like in a vacuum and hold on to this moment, because you're going to have 15 really bad days right afterwards with music and still keep pushing. And I think the one thing I've learned over the last 3 years, because we're coming up on, my friends and I were talking about, we're coming up on senior year, right? Like Added Tokens was kind of like, you're a freshman who got put on, you were the high scorer on JV, right? Like the high scorer on JV, but nobody really had expectations. And then like now you're on varsity and, like you got like 10, 15 points a game. People are looking, and then now it's like, all right, like, are you going to be all state? Are you going to be all conference? Right. And I think that's what I'm trying to do. And I've never been this focused, never been this happy, never been this blessed. And I'm just really excited about what happens next. And I think like I'm in the rarest form I've ever been, like musically, right? And I'm just having fun with it. So I just always say to people, make sure you're having fun because like the times where it's hard, it's gonna get really, really hard, right? Because
Oh, yeah.
there's been a lot of broke nights, a lot of broke in nights, right? Like where money's scarce, right? Where sleep is scarce, where relationships are put on back burners, where you don't get to see your family as much, and this is just the infancy, right? Like this is just getting started. So I always find that like if you can find some peace and balance or some peace and blessings, you know what I mean? Like it'll kind of help you see it through. So I enjoy it, and I'm just really excited about whatever comes next.
Oh yeah, and that brings me to my third pick. I think the Miami music scene, not just like the house music, the club scene, but like what's going on right now with the Miami hip hop scene, it's really cool. My dad had his era and generation, but it was different. Now the internet's out, and it's cool to have a visual examples of people that are putting in work, paying the dues, constantly making noise, and I'm just super excited for the future of it. There's people like Tetrus, Shadi, Mowgli, a bunch of people. My dad's still doing his thing, me, official Heir right here. You feel me? We're all working, and I just feel like it's gonna be cool what's coming, and I feel like it's just getting started, and you're a big player in that. So
man, I think about it. I think like
thank you for that.
the local culture, I think it's so funny because I knocked on the door, and Shadi and I talked about it all the time, is like I knocked on the door and didn't know better, right? Like I didn't know who to respect, who to disrespect. Not to say I would disrespect anybody, but I didn't know any better. I just was nice to everyone, and just put as much effort as I can into every single performance, every single record, every single interaction, and like people have really, really like given me a lot of love and praise around like just the effort. So I think keep working, it's working, check, you know what I mean? So I'm really looking forward to it, man. I could not be happier with anything else in my life.
You get what you put in, man, and when you get your all, you're gonna reap the rewards eventually. It's just a matter of consistency. And we end every episode with one more message. Could be to the world, could be positive, negative, whatever you want it to be. Just something to leave the people with. We've left them with a lot already.
Small moments create momentum. You never know your best moment until you're actually in it, right? So I think the best advice I could give to anyone is, hey, DM that girl. DM that girl. Send that good morning text. Be toxic. Have fun. Enjoy it, right? Because she's probably going to reject you, but on a long enough timeline, she might say hello, right? So keep working. It's working. Have faith in yourself, and she will respond to that good morning text. You know what I mean? So peace and blessings. Check. Buy some merch. Album coming soon. Peace, blessings, and all the above. Check.
Peace and blessings. See y'all next week.
Oh, are we gonna do that again?
We'll end it
Hey,
like
what's
that.
I think, or you're gonna say, I'm dropping an album, and I'm gonna be like, yeah, it's called More, and then you're gonna be like, more. All right, fair.
Okay, cool.
All right, cool.
You're dropping an album, right?
Yeah, it's called More.
More.
Yes, more.
See y'all next week for more. Peace out.
Check.
Sliding in the studio, my album coming soon. Until we get this rap money, trap gon' have to boom. These bricks and these keys and these zips is what we'll do. If you need some fire, I can see you off the June.